Who doesn't want tax relief these days? Barack Obama insists he will help the middle class by cutting taxes to 95% of Americans. But what is his definition of a tax cut? After all, almost a third of Americans already do not pay federal income tax. Some critics say Obama is just using the tax code to disguise government handouts as tax cuts. Well, Andy Roth joins me now to try to sort this all out. He's the Director of Government Affairs for the Club for Growth. Good to see you, Andy.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
Obama's 95% promise, let's begin with that, because that means only 5%, he claims, will see a tax increase. I double-checked that with the Nonpartisan Tax Policy Center, which says that's not true. They say a full 20% of households will see their taxes go up. Who's telling the truth here?
Well, they are actually. Obama wants to raise taxes across different spectrums. He wants to raise income taxes for everyone making over $250,000. But one thing that I think voters need to pay very, very close attention to is that he wants to raise taxes on capital gains. So that means everyone with a 401k, an IRA, or any other kind of brokerage account where you hold equities, the value of those accounts are going to go down.
That's 100 million Americans, isn't it?
That's more than half of all households, yes.
All right. Now, another group called the Tax Foundation, independent, estimates that under Obama's plan, 44% of all tax filers will not pay any tax at all. And those folks are actually going to get a check from the government. Is that accurate, and is that essentially welfare?
That is accurate, and that's what he's talking about when he's saying that 95% of all Americans will pay lower taxes. Basically, all of these different credits that he's offering for mortgages or for child care or for college, these are refundable tax credits. So people who don't pay income taxes will then receive a check. It will be a welfare check from the federal government. So you're taking more people off the tax rolls and creating a system where there are more and more Pauls who are voting to take money from Peter. So eventually it's just going to snowball on ourselves, and we're going to be in real trouble.
Yeah, I got my calculator out this morning. 1% of taxpayers under Obama's plan, 1%, would pay more federal taxes than the bottom 80% combined, which is pretty amazing. Look, with Obama's planned increases for both income and Social Security taxes on top of Medicare tax, property tax, state tax, local tax, people, Andy, in the top marginal tax rate will pay, I think, close to 60% of their income, 60% to the government, depending upon where they live. Is that true?
Yes, it's breathtaking as to how bad he wants to punish the very people that are providing capital in our markets right now. These are the people that, build factories and create jobs. You don't want to smother them under, just oppressive tax rates. The last thing you want to do is that. When we had a financial crisis in the late 1920s, we know now the mistakes not to make. We know that you shouldn't raise taxes after a big drop in the stock market. And that's what's going on right now. So why would we want to do that again?
Let's put up that graphic that we just had, Maria, a second ago, and I want you to try to explain it. I don't know if you have a monitor and you can see it. Right. There you see at the lower left-hand side of the screen, $25,000 income, $45,000, $65,000. It graduates all the way up to $125,000. Obama is the blue line. That's how much people would pay above the green line, which is the current tax law. And we're talking here about, the average husband and wife with a couple of kids. So even people at the low end are going to see taxes go up, right?
Right. I mean, his tax policy is just pure lunacy. The way he's created all these ticky-tack tax credits, the way it works is that they phase out the more you make. So your marginal income tax rate goes up higher and higher, even if you're making a modest amount of money for a household of 2 income earners. So people need to be very, very worried about how Obama is going to affect your taxes. For middle-class people, high-income people, everybody, it's going to hurt, and it's going to hurt bad.
By the way, that graphic courtesy of the American Enterprise Institute, which did all of those calculations seen on that graph. Andy Roth, thanks very much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.